Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tradesman Experience. This is the podcast built by tradesmen for tradesmen, where we discuss business, culture, leadership, and the mindset it takes to build a business and life you're proud of. My name is Josh. Let's get into it and let's get shit done. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Tradesman Experience. I am Josh, and of course, on the other side of the screen or on the other microphone is my brother, my business partner, my confidant. I don't even know what that means. Greg Giroux. Greg, what's up, man?
Thank you. What's up?
You and I were talking a couple weeks ago, last week maybe, and you said, let's do a podcast about what you need to know before you start a business. And we're going to do that today, but I think that as people listen to this, you need to know this shit, whether you've started a business, you've been in business for 5 years, 10 years, 50 years. These are things that you need to know to own a business, to take on the responsibility of a business.
Or go out of your way to share it with somebody who's thinking about it.
You know, anybody listening that's considering starting a business, the best thing that you can do is find someone to go talk to. It doesn't even have to be in a mentor state. Just have a conversation. Hey, I'm thinking about starting a business. What do you wish you knew when you started your business?
You got to choose the right person, though. You
do. I was so fortunate with some of the mentors that I've had in my life. So fortunate. I would not be sitting here without them. I mean, that it wouldn't even be possible for me to be here without the conversations that I had under the mentorship. So finding the right person, having that conversation, be super humble, be very attentive, be intentional, listen, and just take what they say as truth, not gospel, because it's all going to be shared through the lens of their own experience, but it's their truth.
Don't waste their time.
I've been fortunate to be able to, to mentor people. Obviously we coach. So coaching and mentoring, and, it's been very rare for me that I've sat down with somebody that I felt like was wasting my time. I have worked with some people where I realized I was trying to start too far down the path against where they currently were. And which I think is going to tie into this conversation today, because there are just things that you need to know, that you need to understand, that you need to be aware of if you're going to start a business. And for me, even understanding that, it was so difficult in those small circumstances to reverse myself all the way back to before the beginning, or the very beginning.
Yeah. Like put yourself in those shoes.
Yeah. Shameless plug though. That's exactly why we started the boot camp. The boot camp isn't necessarily for people that want to start a business, but it is built around giving you the fundamentals to start and run a business.
Even if you've already done so.
Yes. And we've got, a vast variety of experience and years of experience. We did we have combined, there's over 300 years of experience in the boot camp with all, with its members, which is awesome.
All walks,
all different parts of the country. But, because I had that experience, I know you've had that experience. It's like, well, what I learned was those individuals are not ready for one-to-one coaching. That's just the truth.
No, but doesn't mean they don't need some form of guidance. I mean, coaching,
right.
There isn't like one set level or definition of a coach. It starts with a mere suggestion all the way to hand holding to low level, high level, and everything in between. There's just so much to be covered, and there's so many tiers.
Yeah.
Of coaching.
And we just started boot camp 005, and we have members that this is their fifth boot camp. I mean, they are part of our, origin group, and they've been there every time. And so it's not just about being in the beginning state, but it offers people this access to structure, information, and a community that you can have conversations with,
Accountability.
which, we'll talk about as a business owner. You don't get to excuse yourself of accountability. I think the last two podcasts, if anyone didn't get that, I know your schedule, Greg. I'm sure that you haven't listened to this week's podcast, but I did a 45-minute, really aggressive rant about being a fucking good human being.
I'll have to listen to that because I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah. And I did it because it coattailed very well off of the podcast before that, where we talked about how owners kill a business from the inside out. I even got a message. Yeah. I got one message specifically. Bradley sent me a text message and goes, I feel like you have some suppressed rage in this episode.
Spot on.
Yeah, 100%. He was exactly right. So I pulled both gloves off in that episode, but it was also a good conclusion to the things that we had been talking about. So to bring this back up in high level, as we navigate through this, to me, that I really think understanding what your mindset needs to be to become a business owner. And I'm going to repeat one of the things that you often say is if you don't have a functioning business, you're self-employed. You own a job. And a lot of people that own businesses think they're business owners and they're only self-employed. They only own a job because they don't have a business. They have a high risk, high liability job. So I think the most important factor in understanding everything that we're going to discuss tonight is you have to assume the mindset of a business owner and leader, even if you don't have employees.
Understand the basic fundamentals. Another wonderful thing that I say all the time, it's not mine, I stole it, but how you do anything is how you do everything. So it's really a self-reflection of you and how you operate in your day-to-day life, how you talk to people, how you interact with people, how you are as an employee, how you are financial with your own personal finances and your life. What does that look like? Is it good? Is it bad? Does it need improvement in some areas? Because that should be your footing to your foundation. Because you can't build a good foundation on a crappy footing. So this is sub-footing, and you got to have good earth under that footing. So that's that sub-level that people just skip right over. They just say, I can do this, and they go right into running a business when there's all these basic fundamentals that need to be in place before you even start. One of them is being a good human.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because as you were describing that, and the footing has to be on good earth. To me, the earth is the quality of the person that you are. I mean, your beliefs, your triggers, your actions, your reactions, your ability to communicate, your self-discipline, your self-narrative. It's my experience that high performers are very self-critical. I know I'm very self-critical.
Oh yeah.
But recognizing that versus allowing that to deflate me,
consume you and
consume me and being my own enemy. It's like,
and there's a line there.
It's a very thin, you can barely see it line.
Yep. And you cross over from time to time. And
absolutely. And being self-critical and falling over that line to falling into self-sabotage is super easy.
Especially when you're holding yourself to a higher standard.
And I also think that's why, just community is so important. I think that part of the mindset is accepting the fact that you're not going to, nor can you do this alone.
But to touch back on where you first started with this conversation is it's looking at mentors. It's who those people are. If you're an independent and you're going to start a business and you're just copying what your buddy did next door because he did it and you can do it, just because that maybe that's not the greatest person to model yourself after. It's no different than having the right or wrong group of friends. When you're in business, you want to surround yourself with the people who are truly successful. And to me, they're not easy to, they're easy to spot. For most people, they're just like, that guy seems successful. Facebook makes him look successful, must be successful. Got a new truck, got all the toys, got all the things. He's successful. Mm-hmm. You have no idea. And I've talked about this again and again and again. I can pick them out of a crowd. The first 10 minutes of talking to them, I can tell you exactly who they are. But you got to know the true, I don't know, core and successful things that make a successful business, and find those in other people and surround yourself with those people, like truly successful people.
So understanding that the trade skill is not equal business skill. You can't build a scalable, sustainable business on your ability to do the craft alone. And that right there is most blue collar business owners' copy paste method of starting a company.
Well, that's the catalyst to failure. If that makes sense. I mean, that's where I'm good at what I do. I'm going to hire somebody to help me. We're going to do more work. I'm going to make more money. I'm going to hire more guys, more work, more money.
No. Yeah, because you think that everybody you hire is going to be like you.
And then when they're not, you're pissed.
And you fire them. And
I'll do it myself.
Yeah, it's easier to do it myself. I make more money with myself. Again, not self-employed. And, I always like to put this, asterisk in there. I'm not talking about outliers. And I always like to mention, my friend, Nick Bizatis, but even Nick doesn't do it alone. He has, he has his dad, which, his dad is one of the old school blue collar men, that kind of built this country type thing. But he has people in the background that allow him to do what he does. But Nick is an outlier. I mean, the guy is a true master of his craft, but it works for him. You can't take that business plan and plug it into your own model and expect to get the same result. There's too many different variables. But fucking people do that all the time. Like you said, oh, they're successful on Facebook, so I'm going to do what they do. Stop. It's not a comparative game. And again, you can't take somebody else's formula and plug it into your equation and get the same result. It will never be the same result.
Well, I mean, that goes back to the basic fundamentals. Like if you have a good foundation and great fundamentals, then yeah, maybe you could plug in some of those things. But if you're building it on crap, no, none of that stuff's it's not gonna work. It's not gonna survive. It's not compatible.
Yeah, and I, to continue to emphasize this point is the more you build the business around your ability in the skill, the less opportunity you're going to have to grow that business, because you're not scalable. Yeah, you're not repeatable. You're not clonable. You're not scalable yet. Well, hey, they did that sheep, however many years ago. It's coming. But that's why, a lot of these blue collar business owners, that's why you see them working 10, 15, 20 hours a day, 8 days a week for a long period of time.
I got to cut you off and go back to the cloning thing for a second. How many years did I say if I could clone myself, I would make more money because I'd have so many of me and we'd produce? The reality is, if there was another one of me, it would be whoever was stronger that day from eating his Wheaties, because somebody's going to die.
Right. Yeah.
But one of us would murder each other. There's no way I would be compatible with another one of me. So you can throw that
Well,
one in, you know.
if there were two of me, Katie would run off with the other one because I'm always here. So
Sorry to cut you off, but I just had
no,
to touch on that one because everybody's like, "Oh, if I could just clone myself." If you could clone yourself, you'd murder yourself, or yourself would murder you.
yeah, I completely agree with that. I mean, I don't. Do you remember the movie Multiplicity?
Yes,
And each
but
clone,
there were different versions.
they were different personalities.
Personalities. Yes,
That's what I loved about it. He's like, we're gonna eat a shark. He's like, no, we're gonna pet a shark. I got you a gift, a chainsaw? No, a book. I got you a book.
It's
Michael Keaton's great performance in that. That's a funny ass movie.
Most people probably have no idea what you're talking about, but
that's okay. Go look it up. It's a funny ass movie. But again, being codependent on your own skill is such a low glass ceiling in the business. And as a trained craftsman, I almost said professional, as a trained craftsman, you have to understand how to leverage that and pour that into people that you hire. If you're really good at business and you're really good at leadership, you're going to find and hire people that are better than you at that job.
That's what makes true successful businesses.
Yeah.
People who surround themselves with people smarter than them.
TJ and Doug, for example, are superior in install and duct fabrication to me. I can't hold a fucking candle. I don't even deserve to hold their tool bag. I can do the job. And if I spend a lot of time, I could get good at that job. I don't want that job. And B, they're just better at it. So why would I spend my time trying to get better at their job than they are? That's crazy. I have no ego in this fight. I love being the dumbest guy, the dumbest guy in the business. I'm going to get a shirt one day and says dumbest guy in the business. But recognizing that ego has no place at this table, that when you have the opportunity to pour into people, and as a leader and as a business owner, you can't hire someone and expect them, or make them, I should say, spend the same amount of time paying the same dues that you paid because that was your path. Save them 10 years and make them better. Boy, you got to pay your dues. I'm not talking about enabling people. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about elevating people.
Big difference.
Big difference. I don't want you to have to spend 20 years in a fucking service van to learn what I learned if I can teach that to you in 10.
I mean, everybody wins in that situation.
Yeah, because I get to elevate.
If you're expediting somebody's learning curve, then everybody wins. They win and you win.
My last point on this is your skill cannot be the business, period. Your skill can't be the business. Done. Enough said. Now I want to segue over into money, because I made all of the ignorant mistakes of not charging enough, not understanding my overhead, not knowing my numbers, not knowing how to sell, just doing what the next guy did. But when it comes to finances, first of all, cash flow is oxygen for the business. And if you don't know money, you don't know business. Full stop. Come on, Greg, you're the numbers guy here. Get the stick out.
I did all the same things too, Josh. I made all the same mistakes. I just learned from them very quickly because I realized how painful it was. And I spent a lot of time watching others to learn what not to do. But at the basic level, you have to take the noise away. And the noise I'm talking about is when you Again, most people start this as a side hustle, right? You start doing this craft, you're good at it, you work for somebody, you learn it, and you're like, oh, so-and-so wants that done. I'm going to start doing jobs for them. And then they refer you. Next thing you know, you're starting a business. Great. But most of that is based on, hey, I've never done this before. So what do you charge? Or what does my boss charge? And then that's just what you charge. Or what's the hourly rate? Well, in this town, welders get this, electricians get this, plumbers get this. That's fine. If that's the going rate, that's the going rate. And if you want to be competitive, you got to stay in that range. Doesn't mean you can be successful and profitable in that range. I've had so many, I hate to say it, inferior technicians leave me because they had no other resort. They weren't good at their craft. They couldn't make it working for me. They weren't a good employee, unfortunately. And then they go and start their own business thinking that that's the solution. And all they become is a rat in the industry because they have no know-how at all. They're not quick at their job. They're not efficient at their job. So they're not great at their craft. Then they go out and they charge half of what everybody else does. So it takes them twice as long for half the price. There's no way they're making money, but they're busier than a pig in shit. They've got more work than they could ever know. You talk to any of those guys, oh my God, I'm swamped. I'm working 80 hours a week, and they've got no money. They work their asses off to lose as much money as possible. And it used to piss me off. It really used to piss me off. I used to want to choke them when I saw them. Then through understanding how this all works and coaching, and I realized that it's just a lack of knowledge. It's just not knowing. Nobody told them the basic fundamentals, and that's breaking down what it takes. If a job is a $600 job and my competitors can do it in 2 hours and it takes me 4, I can't be competitive doing that task because I have to charge the same-ish, if you're smart, the same-ish of what they're charging, right? It's got to be within that window. But you're doing it in twice as much time. So how can you be profitable if they're profitable off of the 2 hours? It's taking you 4. This is just basic job costing. But first, before you even job cost, you have to understand what it costs you to do business. Not everybody else, you. Every single expense that you have broken down to the hour of what it costs you. Then you can start to understand, can I be competitive with what the rates are in this area? That would be a great place for anybody to start. Going to start a business to say, well, my boss charges 150 and I'm going to charge 60 and I can still make money. Your boss isn't a crook. He's not. Well, most of them aren't. Right? Like you got to be competitive. You're just not going to get the work. But starting there, that's the base. You got to understand if you can be competitive in the market you're walking into and understand. And not just what it costs you today, because I know when you leave your employer and you're working out of the trunk of your car, you have no overhead. Sure. Of course you can make money charging $60 an hour. Do you want to be working out of the trunk of your car forever? So before you even start a business, why don't you pretend you have one? Lay out your expenses to what it would look like if you were actual competition. If you had a business, you weren't self-employed, big difference. If you actually owned a business someday and you had 4 or 5 employees and you had rent and trucks and insurances, factor for all this stuff. You can throw all this in ChatGPT today and it will tell you. You don't even have to go look it up. You just ask ChatGPT, I'm an electrician in central Massachusetts. I want to have 4 guys. How much money do I need to make a week, a day, a month, an hour to be competitive? It will break it down and spit it out for you because it knows what everybody's charging. It knows what everything costs. It's that easy today. I did this all manual. So start there. Pretend you have a business and see what it looks like. And then realistically think, okay, could I be busy 40 hours a week to produce this revenue? What would it take to get there? Why don't I stress myself out a little harder to work on the side before I jump ship? Or build up a client of some sort. Like, don't just I've had it with my boss today. I'm going to go quit and start a job because it's the only other option.
I think that it's really easy to get distorted in thinking that your friends and family are going to provide you with enough business to stay afloat.
And can I touch on that one for a
Mhm.
hot second? Because this is another thing that really pisses me off. Your friends and family, the ones that love you and that are supposed to support you, right? Those are the motherfuckers that are looking for the biggest discount. And then they want to refer you to people because you're cheap and you're a discount. That's not supporting people that you actually like, by the way.
Yeah, call Greg. His prices are way better.
Oh, dude, my brother-in-law, he's super cheap. He'll get it done. Stop being an asshole to your brother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, people. You want to support somebody, you actually love somebody, refer them to people because you want them to be successful, which means they need to make money, which means they can't be the cheapest guy. What you should be telling your friends and family is, dude, you're way too cheap. I appreciate you doing it cheap for me. Start charging more to other people. I'll refer you to everybody. Still give me the family love and discount. If you need it, by the way, if you're wealthy and you're ripping off your friends and family, you should go to hell. But for the people who are referring, understand that if you were in those shoes, would you want the people that you love, your friends and your family, to be referring you as the cheap option because you think it's helping? Come on.
So I'm going to continue that tangent because.
Sorry, Joe.
No, it's as good. Again, if I understood more of this 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I'd be sitting in a different place, good or bad. But it also interests me when the consumer starts talking about trying to get the cheapest bid. Now, the contradiction there is if you went to anybody's house and they have a child or grandchild that's getting into the skilled trades, there's not one person that's going to tell them, that individual, to go, hey, I want you to go work for a company that doesn't offer benefits, that doesn't pay you well, that doesn't contribute to insurance, that doesn't care about you, and doesn't do quality work. Nobody's going to go tell their kid or their grandkid when they're hunting for a job in our industries that. What they're going to do is they're going to say, hey, benefits are important. Paid time off is important. You got to like where you work. There's a lot of factors that come into play. Well, it costs money to do that. It costs money to have above market wages, to have paid time off, to have paid insurance, to have all of these extra benefits. So when you're sitting down across the table from the electrician or the HVAC guy and you're looking for the cheapest bid, just know that when you're looking for the cheapest bid, you're looking for the cheapest work. You're looking for the cheapest worker. And you're contradicting yourself because you're supporting a company that doesn't afford benefits, paid time off, insurance, dental, retirement. So because it's coming out of their pocket. Mm-hmm. Well, I can't. Why are you guys $2,000 higher?
That's called a hypocrite.
Yes, that was the word I was looking for. Hypocritical.
That's called a hypocrite, Josh. Can I touch on one more thing with this?
Of course. Open table. Let's go.
We do this to ourselves, and not all, but most. And it's the shiny object syndrome. When the perception of tradespeople is kind of all over the map, but there's a very common stereotypes and themes, right? One of those is, we're grungy and we're below everybody else. Great, cool. Call me when you don't have power. Your toilet doesn't flush. The other one is that guy makes too much money. They have no idea, just like you have no idea about other companies. So they see you show up in a shiny new truck. They heard that you bought a boat. They heard you bought a big house downtown, all the things. Meanwhile, they have no idea that you're actually broke on paper because you don't realize that because you worked really hard and you deserve these things. So you went and bought them. Again, and I'm talking to the people who know that they really shouldn't afford these things, that they go buy them anyways, they feel like they deserve them. Not talking about the actual successful people who have done this right and have earned these things. Not to say that the people haven't, the others, but again, we know how tradespeople are. Everybody knows a tradesperson who buys a new truck, and then his buddy who owns a company next door buys a truck, and so on and so forth, because it's a game of keeping up with the Joneses. He did the same revenue I did last year, so if he can afford that truck, I can. Did you actually sit down and break down the numbers, or did you do the justification math in your head to go buy that truck because he did it and you can figure it out? Or you listen to somebody who did stupid justification math and you're like, well, he did stupid justification math, so I'm just going to use that, copy and paste. But again, people see this. It's the perception. They look at all this. I've heard people, sitting at a party, I heard somebody I know personally said, you know who I don't hire? The guy that shows up in my truck with the Denali on the side of the truck. Not hiring that freaking guy. I want the guy with a piece of crap pickup truck. And I just sat there sipping my seltzer. I'm like, cool. Didn't say a word. Like, you can't be helped.
No.
But that's the perception. The perception is the guy with the Denali makes too much money. What about the professional business he runs and benefits he pays his guys and service he provides and everything he does is bust his ass to make a beautiful, successful company? Yeah, he should be driving around a shiny new truck. It's a great image of the company, but it's that perception. Everybody gets skewed by that perception.
Yeah. Alex Hormozy said that people want you to be successful, just not more successful than them.
100% accurate. I want you to crush it, dude. You just can't crush it more than me.
Mm-hmm.
Because then we got a problem. Oh, yeah. That's that's fantastically true.
Yeah.
Man. But again, it's the way it is. And the expectation is that when you start a business that you should show up in the ratty truck with the ratty and you're cheap and all these things. Like, no, dude, come out of the gate swinging. Mirror your competition and do whatever you have to do to jump and show the world that you are that. You can do it.
Well, it goes back, one of the comments I made earlier about these guys that run, 18, 20 hours a day, 8 days a week. You're going to do that in the beginning.
Of course.
And I think that's something that's also really misunderstood and misinterpreted is the trade-off. The price you're going to pay to build a business, to start a business.
But it's short-term pain for long-term gain.
If it's smart pain.
If it's smart pain, right. But most people are looking for the instant gain.
Mm-hmm. So you're going to work unreasonable hours and days. And you're going to have days, like as a business owner, you're going to hit a day and it's going to be a Friday afternoon and it's going to be 70 and sunny. And you're like, I think I can take the rest of the day off. And you can take the rest of the day off. But the other 364 days a year, you're not going to take the day off. And understanding, again, the trade-off that you're about to make is you're no longer punching in and out to a company. You are now on the clock 24 hours a day.
There is no clock.
There's no clock. It's gone. You threw that in the trash when you started your own company and you said, okay, this is what I'm going to commit myself to. And it's going to interrupt birthdays. It's going to interrupt date night. It's going to interrupt, pick your poison.
All of them.
This morning, because my schedule changed, I've got to travel Thursday, Friday. And so this morning, Katie and I were having coffee and she was like, I was really hoping we were going to get to go to this, one of our favorite restaurants, because they have these specials on Wednesdays, Thursdays. And this particular week, they're doing a chicken pot pie special dinner. And she was like, but it's okay, next time. And there's nothing that I can do about that except apologize. I I can't change my schedule. Like growing this business that you and I have is it we're doing it whatever it takes. And all of us are making sacrifices.
And that's a great point, Josh, because when you decide to do this, if there's other people around you, they're indirectly coming with you.
Mm-hmm.
They're exposed to this. They're gonna see the stresses, and it's gonna rub off on them. It's gonna affect them. Your kids, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever they are at that time, like whoever you surround yourself with, it's gonna be or friends. I had so many friends that are like, "Oh, dude, you should just go back to work for somebody. Like, why do you do this to yourself?" And I'm like, it's this is what I chose, and I'm a man of my word. So that includes to myself. I told myself and committed to something I was going to do, and it's going to get done, or I'm going to die trying. So there's no option for failure. But if there's constant option for failure, then there's a red flag not to do it.
Yeah, and I think something that
Again, that's something to think about before you go into business.
Before you go into business. And when you start a business, there's this really interesting thing that happens. You have to balance ultimate freedom against commitment and discipline every day.
Yeah, that it's like yes, like magnets.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Mm-hmm.
and you walk that, you wiggle that line all day, every day,
Forever.
forever. You get used to it.
You do, and you get better at it. But that's what happens when the time clock goes out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, when you go to work for somebody, the amount of effort that you put into that and the amount of commitment that especially high performers, put into that, we will go to work sick, tired, broken. It doesn't matter. Hungover. We will show up no matter what. And then once you get rid of the time clock and that option of ultimate freedom is there, the ability to say not today is really too easy. It's so easy to say, I don't feel like it today, and not show up.
That's the separator.
Mm-hmm.
That mental choice, I can't tell you the countless mornings I woke up on a Friday or a Saturday hungover at 21 and I'm like, oh, I gotta call out. My brain's just like, dude, you made this bed.
Mm-hmm.
Go to work. I could hear my dad, get your ass up, go to work. You didn't even have to say it anymore. I'm like, okay, fine. Yep.
Oh, today is going to suck. Then you go get in an attic in the middle of summer. You're like, I'm going to throw up in the sun.
And it's always that time where your buddy's like, have one more. And you're like, I really shouldn't. I got to go to work tomorrow. And then they force feed you it. And you're like, I'm fucked.
I'm dead. But you have to have, you just have to have another level of discipline.
That's it.
And recognize that it's difficult. I mean, there's days I struggle with it now. I never want someone to think they're like, oh, I'm like this wired in, robot. It's like, I'm human and I have bad nights and shitty mornings and I don't fucking feel like it. And
my day today started with, I don't feel like doing this today. Yes. Today is not the day. And
yeah, it
turned into the day. There was no option. There was things that needed to get done. And they got done.
Mm-hmm. And, one of the habits that I have found works really well for me is I work 6 days a week. Usually Saturdays is a half day, but I still work 6 days a week. And that discipline for me, I feel like gives me more flexibility and more freedom because I know what it looks like. Also today, I had a doctor's appointment today. I had to leave the office for a few hours. That's part of that unlimited freedom. Like I can schedule a doctor's appointment around whatever I need. I can go. I don't have to fucking ask anybody. Again, there's a sense of ultimate freedom there. But I also have constructed myself a schedule where I know I'm going to work 6 days a week. And juggling things or overlapping or moving things around, like I have this perimeter established that I can get the things done that I need to get done.
But again, it's allocating that time to do it, and it just gets done. Like, sure, if you had 6 doctor's appointments this week, that's fine, but you would still find a way to get the work done because it just has to get done. That's the limiting part versus the like, yeah, you don't have to answer to anybody. You can go wherever and do whatever you want, anytime you want. But every time you take away from something that should be done, all you're doing is hurting that in the future. You're just borrowing time from the future.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. You're stealing.
Borrowing.
Yeah, you're borrowing, stealing from tomorrow, borrowing from the future, 100%.
I'll take care of that tomorrow. And then tomorrow's like, oh, I'm too busy. I got to do this. And then it just gets pushed. And that's when businesses fall apart.
Katie laughs now when, if I look at the schedule, Fridays, for example, she gets off work at 2:00. I attempt to get off work at 2:00 on Fridays, or at least home by 3, because I'm not going to explain her schedules, but it's just like we get to spend some time together. And she laughs because she's like, I actually never know when you're going to come home. You might beat me home and you may not get home till 6:00. I never know. And that's the inconsistency of what you're adopting when you start a business. It's like, you just got to do whatever it takes, and however long it takes is what it takes.
But that doesn't mean grind yourself away to nowhere. This all comes with part of having a plan. If you're just grinding away and you're keeping yourself busy with busy work, doesn't mean you're getting anywhere. Don't confuse movement with progress. Just because you're busy moving doesn't mean you're progressing. For most tradespeople, unfortunately, you're losing ground. You're actually going backwards slowly. And it feels like that for a reason, by the way. You're like, oh yeah, it kind of feels like that, because that's what's actually happening.
So there's 2 more pieces I want to touch on here. One we'll brief over, because we're talking about the discipline and everything. Self-doubt is part of the process. I know we talked about self-sabotage earlier and being self-critical, but self-doubt is part of the process, but you have to use that as fuel to keep going.
Self-doubt, that son of a bitch shows up to work every day.
It's here before I am.
Every day, that son of a bitch is there. Hey, how you doing this morning? You're not going to make it. Not going to happen today. And I'm like, nice to see you too. Get out of the way.
Every fucking.
Well, some days I cut him off at the door. There's other days I invite him in and he hangs out with me all day.
Yeah. Have some coffee. We're going to be here a while, you dick.
Bastard.
And then the closing point that I want to make about all of this is, you have to have a plan. You need to understand finances. You've got to have personal discipline. You need to understand your market and your market value. You need to charge accordingly. And the dichotomy to all of this is, you're not going to have it all figured out before you start.
Not even close.
And you can overcome so much ignorance by aggressive action.
Good point.
So I don't want anyone to listen to this and be like, oh, fuck, I have to learn all of this. You need to know that you need to know this.
That's it. Start there.
Write this list down and go, I need to learn these things. And I also need to get shit done at the same time. Well, I've got to bid this job. This is a great opportunity for me to understand job costing. This is a good opportunity for me to go, you know what? I'm going to bill this out at $150 an hour, and I'm going to try to sell it. Don't be afraid to lose the job. You're going to experience this. You have to experience what all of this means and how this fits into your puzzle for you to be able to grow your business. The mistake happens when people continue to neglect and refuse to learn these things. They don't learn sales. Yeah, it's psychotic. They do have the hamster wheel. And the only time they get off the fucking hamster wheel is when the shiny object syndrome kicks in and they want to try this new thing, sell this new widget, do this new business. And then 6 months later, they're back in the hamster wheel because it didn't work. Of course it didn't work. It didn't fit the fucking plan. You got your head taken off because you wanted to go do this new thing that's coming. Like, no, don't do that. Like, get really, 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 really good at what you do so it becomes scalable. And the market knows you for that thing. Then you can start to add on some complementary services. But take this for what it is and just know that you got to know this shit and go out there and fucking get after it. So,
or come join the boot camp before you start a business to understand some of the real details and things that you need to know.
Yeah. You know, it's so crazy to me. Again, I said, you know, it's our 5th boot camp, and I gain more and more appreciation for the value of content that's in that boot camp. Every time we do it, I'm like, God, this is good. I mean, not like, I'm not talking about in a self-promoting way. I'm like, God, this is so good.
It's just all the basic, I don't want to call them basic. It's all the necessary and the fundamentals to running a successful business, or just knowing how to navigate on a basic level. Like you can use it at its most simple form, or you can implement everything we do and absolutely crush it. Taking one segment could change your business.
Yeah. Which we have multiple case studies.
Multiple.
Now that is just, the results are unbelievable.
And
unbelievable.
I mean, there's really one or two of them that have really tried to implement absolutely everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they have just knocked it out of the park. But the rest of the people that adopt even one or two things have just seen absolute growth.
Yeah.
And we've seen growth in them as a person. They're totally different people. It's awesome to watch.
It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that they grow as people and their business follows.
But you got to want it.
Mm-hmm.
Get past that whole ego part.
And, you know, tonight, for example, we're diving into overhead calculation and understanding what your overhead is so you know how to price jobs correctly. And we're getting in there in 11 minutes as of time of this recording. So, and then we have our mastermind tonight, and my friend Kevin Johnson, host of the Welding Business Owner Podcast, founder of the Fabricator Olympics. He's our guest tonight. We do a monthly mastermind where we invite, you know, people in, and it's an open roundtable Q&A. I'm sharing that with people because it's one of the perks of being in the boot camp. It's one of the perks of being in our community. It's like you get to sit down with these people on a monthly basis and talk to them. You get to know them, you get to meet them.
Glorious, but some of the content and some just even little snippets you pull away are huge. They help huge. Yeah, because these are the people we're talking about, like to go to mentor and understand and ask questions. Like you're surrounded with those people. So again, the boot camp isn't just for people who own a business. It's absolutely, I've tried to suggest it to so many people who are starting a business. And I have.
Yeah. And our members do the same thing. They're like, I've got 4 or 5, you know, guys I'm trying to drag in here, and they keep putting it on. I don't need that. I don't have time. I can't. No one can say they can't afford it. Right. It's so affordable that you can do a little bit of calculation and get yourself to a point to pay for it.
No, if you can't afford this, then you need to afford this. And there's been a couple that have, that's how they started. They're like, I don't have the money for this. I'm like, get in the boot camp and you will find the money.
Yeah. I did the calculation. What's it end up being? It's
change.
It's so stupid. I'll tell you. Yeah, it's so dumb. It's $1.35 an hour.
Based on a 40-hour work week?
Yeah. Based on 21 days a month. It costs $1.35 an hour to be in there. You can add that to your overhead, I promise. No one's going to notice. Oh my God, your prices went up $1.
I'm $141 an hour now.
Oh man. So anyway, hopefully this was helpful content. We say this because we want you guys to be successful. We don't want anyone to start a business and harm the market. And God forbid you continue on this wagon of bad reputation blue collar businesses. We have enough uphill battles, guys. We have a hard enough time fighting the cheap chuck in a truck. It's like,
But again,
don't do that.
The movement should be that whoever's listening to this shares some of this, just some of these points and ways of thinking to people who are the chuck in a truck, who are undercutting the market. They're not jerks. Most of them aren't jerks. I'm sure there's the handful, right? But help educate those people, mentor those people. Even if you slightly know more than them, they clearly know nothing if they're continuing to charge a quarter of what the market is charging in a van. Educate those people, help those people. That'll help the entire market.
Well, I don't think anybody starts a business to go broke on purpose.
Well, there might be a couple. You never know.
I don't know, but
a lot of crazies out there.
Yeah, but the sensible person doesn't start a business to go, I'm going to do this until I go broke and I'm going to charge accordingly. But if you don't have a business plan, that's your business plan.
Fact.
All right, let's land this plane so we can jump into boot camp. All right, guys, you can find us on Instagram at Blue Collar Insiders. Emails thetradesmanexperience@gmail.com. Thanks for spending this time with us. Get out there, get shit done. Be proud to be a tradesman. See ya.